Let me ask you something. Have you ever learned business analysis, maybe BRD, RTM, user stories, but still felt like, okay, but how does this actually work in a real project? Because that's exactly where most people get stuck. And honestly, that's also the reason why interviews become difficult. So in this video, I'm not going to give you textbook definitions. I'm going to walk you through how things actually happen in a real project. And welcome to Tech Bytes with Leena, where we focus on practical, real-world understanding. If that's what you're looking for, make sure you subscribe, because this series is going to build your clarity step by step. Also, this video is part of a series, so don't treat this one as one-off video. Think of this like building your understanding layer by layer. Today we'll understand the full life cycle. In the next video, we'll go deep into BRDs, and that's where things will start getting really practical. How projects actually start. Now let's talk reality. Projects don't start with documentation. No one comes to you and says, "Hi, here is a perfectly written BRD, please execute." In real life, it's messy. It starts with confusion. For example, let's say a company comes and says, "Our sales are dropping." That's it. Now imagine you are a business analyst. What do? You can't jump to solutions. You can't say, "Okay, let's redesign the app," because you don't even know the real problem yet. Why projects are confusing? Now, before we go further, let me quickly address something important. Why do most people feel confused when they try to understand real projects? It's not because the concepts are difficult. It's because everything is interconnected. You learn BRD separately, user stories separately, testing separately. But in real projects, all of this happens together. And because of that, people don't know how to explain their projects in interviews. They know pieces, but not the full picture. So while watching this video, don't just focus on individual steps, focus on how everything connects. Thinking like a BA. This is where your real role starts. Not as a document writer, but as someone who understands problem. So you start asking questions. Where exactly is the drop happening? Is it before login, after login, during payments? Because each answer leads to a completely different problem. And this is something I always tell my learners. Don't rush to solutions. Sit with the problem. Stakeholders' reality. Now here's where things get interesting. You'll talk to different people and everyone will give you a different version of the problem. Business team will say we need faster results. Tech team will say system limitations. Users might say it's confusing. And now you are sitting there like, okay, who is right? And the answer is everyone is right in their own way. Your job is to connect all these dots from confusion to clarity. So now you have all this information, but it's scattered. This is where you start structuring it. You begin to identify patterns, you separate what's important and what's noise. You start thinking in terms of what does the business actually need? What is just an assumption? And trust me, this step takes time. It's not like one meeting and everything becomes clear. Real thinking versus theory. Now, this is where real business analysts are different from beginners. Beginners focus on writing requirements, but experienced business analysts focus on understanding the problem. Let me explain that. If someone says improve your user experience, a beginner might directly start writing requirements, but an experienced BA will stop and ask what exactly needs improvement. Is it speed? Is it design? Is it navigation? Because without clarity, your documentation will also be unclear. Analysis. Now comes analysis, and this is where you move from understanding to decision making. You look at what exists today and what needs to exist. But here's the important part. You don't jump to the perfect solution. You evaluate options. Because in real projects, there is always constraints. Time, budget, system limitations. Common mistakes. Let me also quickly talk about common mistakes I see. Most people jump to solutions too fast. And this creates problems later. Because if your understanding is wrong, your solution will also be wrong. For example, if you assume users are dropping because of slow speed, but the real issue is confusing UI, then your solution won't fix anything. So always remember clarity before solution. How this helps in interview. Now you might be wondering, why is this life cycle so important for interviews? Because one of the most common question is explain your business analyst project. And most candidates struggle here. They either start randomly or they miss important steps. But if you understand this life cycle, you can structure your answers clearly. You can say first we gathered requirements, then we analyzed, then documented, and then create a strong impression. Documentation. Now finally documentation starts. And this is where most people think this is the main job. But actually this is just a way to communicate clarity. BRD is not just a document, it's alignment. User stories are not just sentences, they guide development. RTM is not just tracking, it ensures nothing gets missed. And in the next video, I'll actually show you how a BRD looks in a real project. Execution reality. Once development starts, your role doesn't end. You keep clarifying, you keep validating, because even a small misunderstanding can lead to a wrong output. Testing. Testing is not just about bugs, it's about one simple question: did we actually solve the problem? Real world expectation. One more thing, in real projects, things are not always linear. You might go back and forth, you might revisit requirements, and that's completely normal. So don't expect everything to be perfect. Focus on understanding the flow. Day in life of a BA. Now let me make this even more real for you. What does a normal day of business analyst actually look like? Because a lot of people think it's just documentation. It's not. Your day might start with a meeting where stakeholders are discussing a problem. And honestly, most of the time the problem is not even clearly defined. So you're sitting there, listening, taking notes, trying to connect things. Then maybe you have another session where you clarify requirements, you ask questions, you validate assumptions. And by the end of the day, you're organizing all this information, trying to make sense of it. So being a BA is less about writing and more about thinking. Skills you actually need. Breaking into 3 skills. Analytical thinking. You need to break problems down. Not just accept what's told, but question it. Communication. You need to communicate clearly because you're dealing with business and technical teams. Attention to details. Small mistakes can create big issues, so you need to be very precise. And this is what makes a strong business analyst. Let me ask you something. Which part of becoming a business analyst confuses you the most? Is it understanding project, documentation, or interviews? Tell me in the comments because I read every comment and I actually create videos based on your questions. And that's exactly how this series is built. Reality check. Let me be honest with you. This is not something you learn in one day. It takes practice. But once you understand it, everything starts making sense. If you want to actually practice this, not just understand it, I've added my business analyst interview prep plus real project course in the description. You'll get real templates and hands-on practice, so you can confidently talk about your projects in interviews. Now this is just the beginning. In the next video, we are going to go deep into BRDs, and that's where things will start becoming very practical. So if you're serious about becoming a business analyst, make sure you subscribe to Tech Bytes with Leena. I'll see you in the next video.